The glow of the phone screen illuminated the dark room. Jenna lay on her side, staring at her phone, trying to quiet the churning thoughts in her mind. It was 2 a.m., and she hadn't been able to sleep for days. Her fingers hovered over the screen, hesitant, but curiosity finally took over. She opened Reddit and found herself scrolling through r/relationship_advice. Why am I doing this? She whispered to herself. Her relationship with Adam had been a steady one. 3 years together, 2 of which they'd spent living under the same roof. At first, everything had been picture perfect. They were best friends and lovers, partners in every sense of the word. Lately, though, things had changed. Adam had been distant, cold even. He was staying out late, brushing off questions, and the once warm intimacy between them had been replaced by silence. Jenna shook off the doubt. Maybe it was work. Adam had been under a lot of pressure lately, trying to secure a promotion at his tech company. She tried to rationalize his behavior, but deep down, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. As she scrolled, one post caught her eye. I think my partner is cheating, but I have no proof. What should I do? Her heart skipped a beat. The thought had been gnawing at her for weeks, but she'd buried it, hoping it would go away. But here it was, staring her in the face on the anonymous digital forum. Jenna opened the post and skimmed through the comments. The stories shared in response were a mix of heartbreak and hope, tales of confrontation, discovery, and sometimes healing. But none of it felt right. She wasn't ready for a confrontation, not yet. Maybe I'm just overthinking it, she muttered, though even as the words left her lips, she didn't believe them. She couldn't shake the gnawing pit in her stomach, that whisper in the back of her mind that told her there was more going on than she wanted to see. The next morning, Jenna decided to test the waters. Over breakfast, she casually asked Adam about his plans for the day. Same as usual, he said, barely looking up from his phone. Meetings, deadlines, you know how it is. His nonchalant tone irked her. He didn't used to be this way, so dismissive, so distracted. His phone was always in his hand lately, and Jenna had noticed how he angled the screen away from her view. It was subtle, but it was there. How about we grab dinner tonight? It's been a while since we had a proper date, she suggested, forcing a smile. Adam hesitated for a moment, then replied, I'll try, but no promises. I've got a lot going on at work. The pit in Jenna's stomach grew larger. Something was off. But without concrete evidence, all she had were gut feelings, and confronting him now could blow things out of proportion. Later that day, while Adam was in the shower, Jenna's eyes drifted toward his phone, which he'd left on the bed. Her heart pounded in her chest. She knew this was wrong, invading his privacy like this, but the feeling of doubt had grown too strong to ignore. She grabbed the phone, her hands shaking. Locked, of course. She had seen Adam put in his passcode hundreds of times, but at that moment, her mind blanked. She took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. 1-9-2-3. She tapped the screen nervously, and to her surprise, it unlocked. Her pulse quickened. For a split second, she thought about putting the phone back down, but the temptation was too much. She navigated to his messages, scrolling through the usual group chats and work threads. Nothing unusual. Her breathing slowed. Maybe she had been wrong after all. Just as she was about to put the phone down, a notification popped up on the screen from an unknown number. Her eyes widened. Can't wait to see you tonight, winking face. Jenna's world seemed to stop. Her heart sank, and a lump formed in her throat. She stared at the message in disbelief, hoping she had misread it. But there it was, plain as day. She quickly opened the conversation thread. The texts exchanged were brief, flirty, and unmistakably intimate. Adam had been messaging this person for weeks, under the guise of late work nights and stressful projects. The realization hit her like a punch to the gut. Her hands trembled as she locked the phone and placed it back on the bed, exactly where it had been. The shower was still running, and she could hear Adam humming softly, oblivious to the storm brewing just outside the bathroom door. Jenna sat down on the edge of the bed, her mind spinning. What now? Should she confront him? Pretend she didn't see anything? Her thoughts were racing, her emotions a chaotic mess. She opened her own phone and clicked on the familiar Reddit app icon. She needed advice, a place to vent, and r/relationship_advice had always been a space for her to find comfort, albeit anonymously. With trembling fingers, she began to type. I think my partner is cheating on me, but I don't know how to confront him. I just found messages on his phone from another woman. I feel sick. What should I do? She hit post, and for the first time in weeks, she allowed herself to cry. The floodgates had opened, and Jenna knew that nothing would be the same after tonight. To be continued. r/relationship_advice, Chapter 2, The Unraveling. Jenna could hardly focus at work the next day. She had barely slept, haunted by the texts she had discovered on Adam's phone. Every time she closed her eyes, the message flashed in her mind, "Can't wait to see you tonight, winking face." She kept checking her Reddit post from the night before. The responses poured in from strangers, each with their own perspective on her situation. Some urged her to confront Adam immediately, while others advised gathering more evidence. Some comments even tried to soothe her, offering sympathy for her pain. But no matter the advice, the consensus was clear: Adam was cheating. As Jenna scrolled through the replies, she felt a strange sense of validation. She wasn't crazy. The distance, the secretive behavior, it all pointed to what she feared most. Now, it was out in the open, at least to herself. She stared blankly at her computer screen, pretending to work while her mind raced. She couldn't keep this up, pretending everything was normal while the truth gnawed away at her. Yet the thought of confronting Adam terrified her. What if he denied it? What if he gaslit her, made her feel like she was imagining things? What if she couldn't bear the truth when he finally admitted it? That evening, Jenna sat in the living room, waiting for Adam to come home. He'd texted her earlier, saying he'd be late again. Her eyes flicked to the clock every few minutes, the tension in her body growing with each passing hour. She had made up her mind. She wasn't going to confront him just yet. Not until she had more clarity. The comments on Reddit had given her the push to start gathering evidence, just in case. The last thing she wanted was to confront him and end up doubting her own reality if he denied everything. At around 9:30 p.m., the sound of Adam's keys jingling at the front door sent a jolt through her. She quickly pulled herself together, trying to appear calm as he walked in, looking tired but composed. "Hey," Adam said, dropping his bag on the floor and kicking off his shoes. "Sorry I'm late again. Work's been insane lately." Jenna forced a smile, her heart pounding in her chest. "No worries. How was your day?" "Long. You know how it is." He leaned in to kiss her on the forehead before heading to the kitchen. "You eaten?" "Yeah, I grabbed something earlier," Jenna replied, her voice tight. Her eyes followed him as he opened the fridge and grabbed a beer. She noticed his phone sticking out of his pocket. Was he still messaging her? The mystery woman? "How about you?" she asked, trying to keep her tone light. "Have you eaten yet?" Adam shrugged, taking a sip from the bottle. "Yeah, grabbed something with the guys after work." The lie stung, but Jenna didn't flinch. She knew now, for certain, that he wasn't with his co-workers. He was with her, the woman from the texts. Jenna swallowed the lump in her throat, feeling her anger and heartbreak build. She needed to hold it together, Just a little longer. Dash. That night, Jenna waited until Adam was asleep before she slipped out of bed and tiptoed into the living room. She had never felt more like a stranger in her own home, sneaking around her partner like this. But she had to know. She needed to see for herself what was happening, even if it tore her apart. She retrieved Adam's phone from the nightstand where he'd left it, careful not to wake him. The same passcode worked again, and she unlocked the phone, her heart pounding in her chest. She went straight to his messages. Sure enough, there were more texts from the unknown number. They had made plans to meet again tomorrow. Flirty exchanges, inside jokes Jenna had never heard before. It was all there. But it wasn't just the texts. There were photos too. Photos of them together, in places Adam had never mentioned. The woman had long brown hair, a sharp contrast to Jenna's blonde curls. In some of the photos, they were laughing, looking happy, almost as if they were a real couple. Jenna's stomach turned as she scrolled through the images. She couldn't believe it. This wasn't just some fling, there was a connection here, something deeper than she had ever suspected. Her hands shook as she locked the phone and placed it back on the nightstand, careful not to make a sound. She stood there for a moment, staring at Adam as he slept peacefully, unaware that his world was about to collapse. How could he betray her like this? After everything they had been through together? Jenna felt her chest tighten. She couldn't stay in the same room with him anymore. She quietly grabbed a blanket and went to the couch in the living room. As she curled up, her phone buzzed. Another notification from Reddit. Someone had replied to her post. Dash. Up, I'm so sorry you're going through this. Cheating is devastating, but you deserve the truth. I know it's hard, but maybe it's time to consider what you want. Confront him when you're ready, but don't let him control your narrative. You deserve better than lies. Dash. Jenna wiped a tear from her cheek. It was time to start thinking about herself, about what she needed. She couldn't keep living in the shadow of Adam's lies, pretending everything was okay when her world was crumbling around her. She took a deep breath and stared at the ceiling, her mind racing with thoughts of what she would say when the inevitable confrontation finally came. But for now, she needed to rest. Tomorrow would be another battle. To be continued. r/relationship_advice, Chapter 3, The Breaking Point. The morning light filtered through the blinds, casting long shadows across the living room. Jenna hadn't slept much. She lay on the couch, wrapped in the blanket, feeling numb. Last night's discovery still weighed heavily on her heart. The betrayal was real, and there was no denying it anymore. Adam was cheating. She thought about the advice she'd received from strangers on Reddit. Some suggested immediate confrontation, while others encouraged her to gather more proof or take time to decide what she really wanted. Jenna wasn't sure what she wanted anymore, but she knew she couldn't ignore the truth. The sound of footsteps in the hallway made her freeze. Adam was awake. "Morning," he called out groggily, walking into the kitchen. "What are you doing out here? Did you sleep on the couch?" Jenna's heart raced. "Yeah," she replied, keeping her voice steady. "I couldn't sleep, so I came out here for a bit." Adam grabbed a mug and poured himself some coffee, oblivious to the storm brewing inside her. She watched him carefully, her mind torn between anger and sorrow. How could he act so normal, so casual, after everything he had done? As Adam sipped his coffee, Jenna's phone buzzed on the coffee table. A new Reddit notification. She glanced at the screen, then quickly turned it face down. The last thing she needed was for Adam to see what she had been writing. But in that moment, the reality of their situation hit her like a ton of bricks. She couldn't go on pretending. Dash. Later that afternoon, Jenna sat at a cafe, staring out the window as rain drizzled down. She had needed to get out of the house, to clear her head. She had called in sick to work, knowing she couldn't focus on anything until she made sense of her life. Her phone vibrated. Another message from Reddit. She hesitated, then opened the app. Have you confronted him yet? Cheating is an emotional roller coaster, but the sooner you face it, the sooner you can heal. Stay strong, up. Jenna sighed, her heart heavy. She wasn't ready to confront him, not yet. But something had to give. She couldn't keep bottling up her emotions, not when every glance at Adam made her stomach churn with resentment. Her thoughts swirled in chaos. She wanted to yell, to scream, to demand answers. But she also feared what the answers might be. As she stared at her phone, another thought crept into her mind. She needed to talk to someone. Someone who wasn't a stranger on the internet. Without thinking, she dialed the number of her best friend, Kara. An hour later, Jenna sat across from Kara in a quiet corner of the cafe, tears streaming down her face. Kara listened, her expression shifting from shock to anger as Jenna recounted everything: the texts, the photos, the lies. I can't believe this, Kara said, her voice filled with disbelief. Adam. He seemed like such a good guy. How could he do this to you? Jenna shook her head, wiping her eyes. I don't know. I just feel so stupid. I should have seen the signs earlier. Don't blame yourself, Kara said firmly. This is on him, not you. You didn't do anything wrong. Jenna bit her lip, trying to hold back more tears. What do I do now, Kara? I don't even know where to start. Kara leaned forward, her voice soft but determined. You confront him. You deserve answers, Jenna. He's been lying to your face for who knows how long. You need to get the truth out of him, even if it hurts. Jenna nodded slowly. She knew Kara was right. She couldn't keep avoiding this forever. But the thought of confronting Adam terrified her. What if he denied everything? What if he twisted the story, made her feel like she was the one in the wrong? Or worse, what if he admitted everything, and the love she thought they shared was truly gone? Okay, Jenna said quietly. I'll do it tonight. Kara reached across the table, squeezing her hand. You're strong, Jenna. You'll get through this, no matter what. That evening, Jenna returned home to find Adam sitting on the couch, watching TV. The sight of him lounging there, so casually, made her blood boil. How could he sit there, pretending everything was fine, when he was sneaking around behind her back? She dropped her bag by the door and took a deep breath. This was it. She couldn't wait any longer. Adam, we need to talk, Jenna said, her voice tense. Adam looked up, surprised by her tone. What's up? You okay? Jenna crossed her arms, her heart pounding in her chest. No, I'm not okay. I know. Adam frowned. What are you talking about? I know about her. I've seen the texts. I've seen the pictures. You've been cheating on me, Adam, Jenna said, her voice trembling with a mix of anger and heartbreak. Adam's face went pale. For a moment, he looked stunned, like a deer caught in headlights. Then his expression shifted. He opened his mouth to speak, but Jenna cut him off. Don't even try to deny it, she snapped. I went through your phone. I saw everything. The silence in the room was deafening. Adam stared at her, his mouth slightly open, struggling to find the words. Finally, he sighed and ran a hand through his hair. Jenna, I'm sorry, he said quietly, his voice cracking. I didn't mean for this to happen. Tears welled up in Jenna's eyes as she took a step back. How could you do this to me? After everything we've been through? Were you ever going to tell me, or were you just going to keep lying? I don't know, Adam said, his voice barely above a whisper. I was scared, okay. I never wanted to hurt you. You've already hurt me. Jenna's voice broke as the tears spilled down her cheeks. You broke everything we had. I trusted you, Adam. I loved you. Adam looked down, guilt written all over his face. I'm sorry, he repeated, but the words felt hollow. Jenna wiped her tears, her chest aching. This was the moment she had been dreading, the moment when the truth came crashing down, leaving nothing but broken pieces in its wake. There was no going back now. I can't do this anymore, Jenna whispered. I'm done. Adam's eyes widened, panic flashing across his face. Wait, Jenna, please. No, she interrupted, her voice firm despite the tears. It's over. She turned and walked away, leaving Adam standing there, his pleas falling on deaf ears. Jenna grabbed her keys and walked out the door, the weight of the confrontation still heavy on her heart. As she stepped outside into the cool night air, she felt a strange sense of relief, mixed with an overwhelming sadness. It was over. But at least now, she had the truth. To be continued. r/relationship_advice, Chapter 4, Moving Forward. Jenna drove aimlessly for what felt like hours, the streets illuminated by the soft glow of streetlights. Each turn felt surreal, like she was in a daze, disconnected from reality. Her heart ached, and every breath felt heavy in her chest. She had ended things, but it didn't feel like liberation. It felt like a void had opened up inside her, an emptiness where love had once thrived. She parked the car by the waterfront, stepping out to feel the cool breeze on her face. The rhythmic sound of the waves crashing against the shore mirrored the turmoil inside her. Her phone buzzed in her pocket, pulling her from her thoughts. She glanced at the screen, another notification from Reddit. Part of her wanted to ignore it, to bury herself in her grief, but curiosity tugged at her. She opened the app and found her post still getting responses. You did the right thing, up. Remember, you deserve someone who respects and values you. It's painful now, but this is your chance to find someone who truly loves you. Each comment felt like a lifeline, a reminder that she wasn't alone in this. A small sense of comfort washed over her, reminding her that she had taken the first step toward reclaiming her life. She took a deep breath, trying to focus on the possibility of moving forward. Over the next few days, Jenna fell into a routine of reflection and healing. She took time off work to process everything, leaning on Kara for support. They spent evenings together, watching movies and talking late into the night about everything that had happened. Have you heard from Adam? Kara asked one evening as they sat on the couch, a bowl of popcorn between them. Jenna shook her head, wrapping herself in a blanket. No, and I don't plan to. I need space. You're doing the right thing, Kara said, nodding. You need to focus on yourself right now. This is your time to heal. Jenna knew Kara was right, but she still felt a wave of guilt wash over her. Adam had been a huge part of her life for years. It felt cruel to cut him off completely, but every time she thought about him, memories of betrayal rushed back. She couldn't let herself fall into that trap again. As the days turned into weeks, Jenna gradually began to reclaim her identity. She focused on her hobbies, reconnecting with friends she hadn't seen in a while. She started going to yoga classes, finding solace in the movements and the calming atmosphere. One evening, after a particularly uplifting class, Jenna felt a sense of clarity wash over her. As she walked home, she realized she was starting to feel like herself again. She didn't want to dwell on the past, she wanted to create a future filled with joy and fulfillment. That weekend, she decided to take a trip to the mountains. The quiet beauty of nature had always brought her peace, and she felt it was time for a little adventure. With a backpack full of essentials and a camera to capture the moments, she set off for the hiking trails. The air was crisp and fresh, and as she walked along the winding paths, Jenna could feel the tension melting away. She reached a lookout point, and the view took her breath away. Rolling hills stretched out before her, bathed in golden sunlight. It felt like a new beginning. She pulled out her camera and snapped a few photos, capturing the beauty that surrounded her. In that moment, she felt a sense of gratitude for the journey she was on, even if it was painful. She was learning to embrace herself and her desires, free from the weight of someone else's choices. Later that evening, while sitting by a campfire, Jenna decided to check her phone. To her surprise, she had a text from Adam. Her heart raced as she opened the message, apprehension flooding her. "Jenna, I know I messed up. I'm sorry for everything. Can we talk?" She stared at the screen, her heart pounding. Part of her wanted to respond, to hear what he had to say. But another part of her remembered the hurt he had caused, the way he had shattered her trust. She didn't owe him anything. After a few moments of contemplation, she typed back, "I need time. I'm focusing on myself right now." She hit send and felt a weight lift from her shoulders. It was liberating to set boundaries, to prioritize her well-being. As the fire crackled beside her, Jenna realized that she was finally choosing herself. She wasn't ready to forgive him, nor did she have to be. The weeks turned into months, and Jenna continued to heal. She started volunteering at a local animal shelter, finding joy in caring for the dogs and cats that needed homes. Each wagging tail and purring cat reminded her that love could exist outside the confines of a romantic relationship. One afternoon, as she was cleaning out the kennels, she met a golden retriever named Max. He was gentle and loving, and something about him pulled at her heart. After a few visits, she decided to adopt him, and he quickly became her constant companion. Jenna felt a new kind of love blossoming in her life, one built on trust and companionship, free from the betrayal that had clouded her heart. One evening, while curled up on the couch with Max by her side, Jenna scrolled through Reddit again. Her post had received hundreds of responses, and as she read through them, she felt a sense of community and support. Your healing journey is inspiring, up. I'm so proud of you for choosing yourself. Thank you for sharing your story. It's helping so many people, including me. Tears filled Jenna's eyes, not from sadness but from gratitude. She had faced one of the most painful chapters of her life and had come out stronger. She had found her voice, learned to love herself, and built a life that was hers. One day, as she was out walking Max in the park, she ran into Kara. They embraced warmly, and Jenna felt a surge of happiness wash over her. "Jenna, you look amazing," Kara exclaimed. "I've been meaning to check in on you. How have you been?" "Honestly, I'm doing really well," Jenna said, her smile genuine. "I feel like I've finally found myself again." "I'm so glad to hear that," Kara said, her eyes sparkling with pride. "You deserve all the happiness in the world." As they talked, Jenna felt a lightness in her heart. She was finally moving on, embracing the unknown and all the possibilities that lay ahead. Jenna knew that the road to healing wasn't always straight, and there would be ups and downs. But she was ready to face whatever came her way. She had learned to trust herself again, and that was worth everything. To be continued. r/relationship_advice, Chapter 5, New Beginnings. Spring arrived, filling the world with color and life, and with it came a renewed sense of hope for Jenna. The trees were blossoming, and the air was fragrant with fresh blooms. As she strolled through the park with Max trotting happily by her side, she felt a lightness she hadn't experienced in a long time. Jenna had settled into her new routine, embracing her hobbies and spending time with friends. The pain of her breakup had transformed into motivation. She signed up for a photography class and began exploring her artistic side, finding joy in capturing the world around her. With Max always by her side, they became the perfect duo for her newfound adventures. One Saturday morning, Jenna and Max went to the local farmers market. Jenna was excited to take her camera and practice her skills, capturing the vibrancy of the market filled with fresh produce, local artisans, and families enjoying their day. As she wandered through the stalls, snapping photos of colorful vegetables and handmade crafts, she spotted a booth with a sign that read "Local Photographers Showcase." Intrigued, she approached the booth and struck up a conversation with the vendor, a friendly woman named Lisa. "I love your work," Lisa said, looking at Jenna's photos on her camera. "Have you ever thought about showcasing your photography? We're looking for local artists to feature in our upcoming exhibition." Jenna's heart raced. This was an unexpected opportunity, and a part of her felt hesitant. "I'm not sure I'm ready for that," she admitted. "I'm still just learning." "Everyone starts somewhere," Lisa encouraged. "Your photos are beautiful. Why not share them with the world?" Jenna felt a spark of excitement but also fear. The thought of putting herself out there was daunting. But after everything she had been through, she wanted to embrace new challenges. "Okay," Jenna said, her voice steady. "I'll do it." The weeks flew by as Jenna prepared for the exhibition. She spent hours curating her best photos, selecting the ones that captured her journey of healing and rediscovery. Each picture represented a moment of joy, a reminder of how far she had come since her breakup with Adam. Throughout the process, Max became her constant companion, always by her side as she set up her display in Lisa's gallery. The day of the exhibition arrived, and Jenna felt a whirlwind of emotions. She was nervous but also excited to share her work with others. As guests began to arrive, Jenna felt her anxiety creeping back. What if no one liked her photos? What if she embarrassed herself? But as the evening unfolded, she found herself engrossed in conversations about art and photography, each compliment lifting her spirits. "I love this one," a young woman said, pointing to a photo of Max sitting in a field of wildflowers. "You've captured such warmth and happiness." Jenna smiled, her heart swelling with pride. "That's my dog, Max. He's my best friend." As the night continued, Jenna felt a sense of belonging. This was her space, her community, and she was finally embracing her identity as an artist. After the exhibition, Jenna received messages from attendees, including Lisa, praising her work. It felt surreal to receive such positive feedback, and she realized that she had taken a significant step forward. That weekend, Jenna decided to celebrate her success with Kara. They met for brunch at a cozy cafe, and Jenna excitedly recounted the night's events. "I can't believe I actually did it," Jenna exclaimed, her eyes shining. "People loved my photos. It felt amazing. I'm so proud of you," Kara said, raising her glass in a toast. "Here's to new beginnings." As they clinked their glasses, Jenna felt grateful for the support she had received from her friends. They had stood by her during the toughest times, and now they were celebrating her victories together. Later that afternoon, as Jenna returned home with Max, she received a notification on her phone. It was a text from Adam. "Jenna, can we talk? I've been thinking a lot about everything." Her heart sank at the sight of his name. After months of silence, she wasn't sure how to respond. She took a deep breath, reminding herself of how far she had come and how much she had grown. She typed back cautiously, "I'm not ready to talk yet. I need more time." With that, she set her phone aside and took Max for a long walk, focusing on the present. She didn't want to revisit the past just yet. She had built a new life for herself, one filled with joy, creativity, and a supportive community. As summer approached, Jenna continued to explore her passion for photography. She began volunteering at community events, capturing the beauty of people coming together, celebrating life, and sharing moments of joy. Each click of the camera reminded her of the happiness that existed all around her. One day, while she was at a local festival snapping photos, Jenna noticed a booth dedicated to local artists. Curiosity piqued, she wandered over and struck up a conversation with the organizer, a woman named Sarah. "You have a great eye for detail," Sarah said, glancing at Jenna's camera. "Have you ever thought about doing freelance photography? We're always looking for people to cover local events." Jenna felt a spark of excitement again. "I've never really considered it, but I'd love to." As they discussed potential opportunities, Jenna couldn't believe how much her life had changed. The pain of her past had transformed into a passion that opened doors she never thought possible. That evening, as Jenna sat on her balcony with Max, sipping a cup of tea, she reflected on her journey. The pain of her breakup had felt insurmountable, but now it was just a chapter in her life, a lesson learned, not a defining moment. She opened her laptop and checked her Reddit post one last time. The comments were still coming in, and she felt a sense of gratitude for the community that had supported her through her darkest days. "You're an inspiration, Op. Thank you for sharing your journey." As she read through the messages, Jenna felt a warmth spread through her heart. She had chosen to share her story, and in doing so, she had found strength, resilience, and a newfound purpose. Jenna knew that life would continue to throw challenges her way, but she felt ready to face whatever came next. With Max by her side, she had learned to trust herself again, to embrace new beginnings, and to find joy in the present moment. And in that moment, she realized she was finally free. To be continued. r/relationship_advice, Chapter 6, A Step into the Unknown. As summer deepened, Jenna found herself increasingly immersed in her photography, taking on freelance gigs and exploring new places. Each photo she captured told a story of life, love, and resilience, and she felt a sense of fulfillment she hadn't known before. One sunny Saturday, Jenna received an invitation from Sarah to participate in a local art fair, where artists could showcase and sell their work. The thought of it made her heart race with excitement and apprehension. "Do it," Kara urged during their weekly brunch. "This is a perfect opportunity to get your work out there." "I don't know, what if nobody likes my photos?" Jenna replied, feeling the familiar flutter of self-doubt creeping in. "Just remember what you told me, you're doing this for you, not for anyone else. And besides, you've come so far. Embrace it." Kara's encouragement washed over her like a warm hug. Taking a deep breath, Jenna finally agreed to participate, her excitement outweighing her fears. As the day of the fair approached, she spent hours preparing her display, selecting her best prints and carefully arranging them on her table. The day of the art fair dawned bright and sunny, and Jenna set up her booth early, her heart pounding with a mix of excitement and nerves. She decorated her table with flowers and a vibrant tablecloth, making it inviting and warm. As the fair began and people started to wander by, Jenna felt a swell of pride. She greeted visitors with a smile, sharing the stories behind her photos, explaining the emotions that inspired her art. "Wow, this one is incredible," a woman said, pointing to a photo of Max leaping through a field of daisies. "You can really feel the joy in it." "Thank you. That's my dog, Max. He's my best friend," Jenna replied, her heart swelling at the thought. As the hours passed, Jenna felt the energy of the fair enveloping her. People stopped to admire her work, and a few even expressed interest in purchasing prints. The validation was exhilarating, and she felt her confidence growing with each compliment. Later in the afternoon, a man approached her booth. He had a camera slung over his shoulder and an easy smile. "Hi there. I'm David," he said, extending a hand. Your work is amazing. I love how you capture emotion in your photos. Thank you. I'm Jenna, she replied, shaking his hand. I really appreciate that. I'm still fairly new to all this. David nodded, his eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. I can't believe that. You have a natural talent. I'm a photographer too, and it's always great to meet fellow creatives. They chatted for a while, discussing their favorite photography spots and techniques. Jenna felt an instant connection with David, his passion for photography was contagious. Would you like to join our local photography group? David asked as they wrapped up their conversation. We meet once a month to share our work and go on photo walks together. It's a great way to connect with other artists. Absolutely. That sounds amazing, Jenna said, excitement bubbling inside her. As the fair wound down, Jenna felt a sense of accomplishment wash over her. Not only had she shared her art with the community, but she had also met new friends and connections that could help her grow. The next few weeks flew by as Jenna immersed herself in the photography group. They met every month, sharing tips and critiques and supporting one another in their artistic journeys. One evening, as they gathered at a local park for a photo walk, Jenna and David found themselves walking side by side. The sun was setting, casting a golden glow over the landscape, and Jenna felt a spark of chemistry between them. Your photos are getting better every time I see them, David said, looking at her with admiration. You really have an eye for capturing light. Thanks. I've been trying to experiment more with natural light and shadows, Jenna replied, feeling her cheeks flush. As they continued to talk and share their experiences, Jenna found herself laughing and feeling lighter than she had in ages. She was grateful for how far she had come, and the possibility of something new began to blossom in her heart. One evening, after their photography group meeting, David invited Jenna to grab dinner. Nervous excitement coursed through her as she accepted. They chatted easily over dinner, sharing stories about their lives and their artistic aspirations. So, what's your dream as a photographer? David asked, leaning in with genuine interest. Jenna paused for a moment, contemplating her answer. Honestly, I want to tell stories through my photos. I want to capture moments that make people feel something, just like my experience did. It's all about connection for me. David smiled, his eyes warm. That's beautiful, Jenna. I can see it in your work. As the evening came to a close, Jenna felt a flutter of hope in her chest. She was beginning to realize that her heart was opening up again, slowly but surely. As summer transitioned into fall, Jenna continued to flourish in her photography journey, all the while deepening her connection with David. They spent weekends exploring new locations, sharing photography tips, and growing closer with each passing day. One crisp autumn afternoon, while they were out shooting in a colorful park filled with fallen leaves, David turned to Jenna, his expression serious yet soft. Jenna, I've really enjoyed spending time with you. You're an incredible person, and I feel like we have a connection, he said, his voice steady. Jenna's heart raced as she met his gaze. I feel the same way, she replied, feeling a mixture of excitement and vulnerability. Would you like to go on a proper date with me? He asked, hope sparkling in his eyes. Yes. I would love that, Jenna said, a smile spreading across her face. Their first official date was a cozy dinner at a quaint little restaurant. They shared laughter, stories, and dreams, and Jenna found herself feeling alive in a way she hadn't thought was possible after her breakup with Adam. David was kind, thoughtful, and supportive, and Jenna felt herself slowly letting go of the pain from her past. As they walked home together, Jenna felt the cool breeze against her skin, and the world around her felt vibrant and full of possibilities. Thank you for tonight, Jenna said, her heart fluttering. I really enjoyed it. Me too, David replied, his eyes sparkling under the streetlights. "I'm looking forward to more adventures together." As Jenna arrived home that night, she couldn't help but feel a sense of hope and excitement for what the future might hold. She had come so far from the darkness of her past, and now she was embracing new beginnings with open arms. In the weeks that followed, Jenna and David's relationship blossomed. They supported one another's passions, and Jenna felt a warmth in her heart that she hadn't experienced in a long time. The pain of her breakup was still a part of her story, but it no longer defined her. One evening, after a photography outing, they sat together on Jenna's balcony, watching the sunset. Max lay at their feet, content and relaxed. "Jenna," David said softly, breaking the comfortable silence. "I really care about you. I know you've been through a lot, and I want you to know I'm here for you." Jenna turned to him, her heart swelling. "I care about you too, David. I'm so grateful to have you in my life." In that moment, surrounded by the beauty of the setting sun, Jenna realized she had finally begun to heal. She was ready to embrace love again, ready to trust and be vulnerable. As they leaned in for a kiss, Jenna felt a sense of peace wash over her. This was her moment, her life, and she was finally living it fully. To be continued. r/relationship_advice, Chapter 7, Facing Shadows. As autumn settled in, Jenna and David's relationship deepened. They spent weekends exploring nearby towns, hiking through vibrant forests, and capturing stunning photographs of nature. Each shared moment brought them closer, and Jenna felt more confident and alive than ever before. However, in the quiet moments, the shadows of her past lingered. Despite her happiness with David, memories of her relationship with Adam crept in uninvited, bringing with them doubts and insecurities. Was she truly ready to open her heart again? One rainy afternoon, as Jenna sat at her kitchen table, her laptop open with photos to edit, her phone buzzed. It was a message from Adam. "Jenna, I really need to talk to you. I've been doing a lot of thinking." Her heart raced. The last thing she wanted was to revisit that painful chapter. But a part of her was also curious, what could he possibly have to say? She took a deep breath, reminding herself of how far she had come. Instead of responding immediately, she called Kara. "He texted me," Jenna said, her voice shaking. "I don't know what to do." "Take your time to process it. You're not obligated to respond right away. Remember, you're in a good place now," Kara reassured her. "I know. It's just, I'm happy with David, but I can't shake this feeling of dread," Jenna admitted, feeling the weight of uncertainty settle in her chest. "Whatever Adam has to say doesn't change your journey. You've worked too hard to let him pull you back," Kara said firmly. With a sense of resolve, Jenna decided to put her phone down. She needed clarity, and she wouldn't let Adam's message disrupt her newfound peace. A few days later, Jenna and David went on a weekend trip to the mountains, eager to capture the fall foliage. They arrived at a cozy cabin, excited for a weekend filled with exploration and creativity. As they hiked through the vibrant trails, Jenna felt the crisp air fill her lungs, invigorating her spirit. David was charming, making her laugh and feel comfortable. They reached a stunning viewpoint, the valley below bursting with colors. "Wow, look at that!" David exclaimed, pulling out his camera. "This is incredible." Jenna joined him, snapping pictures and reveling in the beauty of nature. In that moment, everything felt perfect. But as the sun began to set, casting long shadows over the landscape, Jenna felt a pang of anxiety. That night, as they sat by the fireplace, sipping hot cocoa, Jenna found herself reflecting on her feelings. She turned to David, her heart pounding. "Can we talk about something?" "Of course," David said, his expression shifting to one of concern. "What's on your mind?" "I've been thinking a lot about my past, and I got a message from Adam," Jenna confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. David's brows furrowed, and he nodded, giving her the space to continue. He wants to talk, and I'm scared that it might bring back feelings I've worked so hard to overcome. Jenna, you're allowed to feel conflicted. It's a part of healing, David said gently. But remember why you left that relationship in the first place. You deserve to protect your heart. I know, she said, tears forming in her eyes. But I can't help but feel guilty. I don't want to hurt him, and I don't want to hurt you either. Your feelings matter too. You need to prioritize your healing, David replied, reaching for her hand. Whatever you choose, I'll support you. Jenna took a deep breath, feeling comforted by his words. She realized that she was not alone in this journey and that she had someone who genuinely cared about her well-being. The following day, after their hike, Jenna decided to confront her feelings head-on. Sitting on the porch, she texted Adam back, her fingers trembling as she typed. What do you want to talk about? After a few minutes, Adam replied. Can we meet? I just need a chance to explain things. Jenna felt a swirl of emotions as she read his message. She stared out at the mountains, contemplating her next steps. She knew she had to face her past but wanted to do it on her own terms. The next evening, Jenna met Adam at a small cafe. As she walked in, she felt a mix of anxiety and determination. She spotted him at a corner table, looking different, older, perhaps a little weary. Hey, he said, his voice tinged with regret as she approached. Hi, Jenna replied, taking a seat across from him. A silence hung between them, thick with unspoken words. Finally, Adam broke the tension. Thank you for meeting me. I know I hurt you, and I've spent a lot of time reflecting on what I did. I want to explain. Jenna crossed her arms, bracing herself for the conversation. Go ahead. I never meant to betray you. It was a stupid mistake, one I regretted the moment it happened. I was scared of losing you, and I didn't know how to handle it, Adam admitted, his eyes filled with remorse. Jenna felt her heart ache at his words. Scared? That doesn't excuse what you did, Adam. You broke my trust. I know. I can't change the past, but I've been trying to learn from it. I'm sorry for everything, Jenna. I miss you, he said softly. The weight of his words pressed down on her, and Jenna felt a mix of anger and sadness surge within her. You can't just miss me now and expect everything to be okay. I've moved on. I'm happy with my life, and I can't go back to the way things were. I understand, Adam replied, looking defeated. I just wanted a chance to explain myself. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I hope you can find it in your heart someday. Jenna took a deep breath, feeling a sense of closure wash over her. I appreciate you reaching out, but I can't hold on to this anymore. I've worked hard to heal, and I won't let you pull me back into that darkness. Adam nodded, tears brimming in his eyes. I get it. I'm sorry for everything. I wish you the best. As they parted ways, Jenna felt a strange sense of relief. She had faced her past, spoken her truth, and now she could fully embrace her future. That weekend, Jenna returned to the mountains with David, feeling lighter than she had in weeks. As they hiked through the trails, the golden leaves crunching beneath their feet, Jenna took a moment to breathe in the fresh air, relishing the beauty around her. Hey, David said, turning to her with a smile. How did it go with Adam? I finally let it go, Jenna replied, feeling empowered. I told him I can't go back to that pain, and I'm ready to move on. It felt liberating. I'm proud of you, David said, wrapping his arm around her shoulders. You're so strong, Jenna. As they reached the summit, Jenna looked out over the breathtaking view of the valley below, feeling a surge of gratitude for the journey she had been on. She was ready to embrace life, love, and everything in between. In the days that followed, Jenna found herself more inspired than ever. She threw herself into her photography, capturing the beauty of fall and the magic of life around her. One evening, while editing photos at home, she received a call from Cara. "Jenna, you have to come to the art show next week. I want to see your work on display again." Jenna's heart raced at the thought of showcasing her photography. "I'm in. I'd love to." The excitement bubbled within her as she prepared for the show, knowing she was now in a place where she could fully celebrate her art. As she finalized her prints and arranged her display, Jenna couldn't help but reflect on how much she had grown. She was no longer defined by her past but rather empowered by it, ready to embrace whatever the future held. That night, as she lay in bed with Max curled up beside her, Jenna felt a sense of peace. She had faced her fears, chosen her happiness, and discovered love again. And she was ready for every beautiful moment that lay ahead. To be continued. r/relationship_advice, Chapter 8, New Horizons. The night of the art show arrived, and Jenna felt a mix of excitement and nerves coursing through her. She spent hours preparing, meticulously arranging her prints and making sure everything was perfect. Max trotted around her feet, sensing her energy, and she couldn't help but smile at him. "Okay, buddy, tonight is the big night," she said, ruffling his fur. "Let's go show the world what we've got." At the gallery, the atmosphere was buzzing with anticipation. Artists and art lovers mingled, laughter and chatter filling the air. Jenna took a deep breath, her heart racing as she set up her display. "Your work looks amazing, Jenna," Cara said, popping up beside her. "I can't wait to see how people react." "Thanks. I'm so nervous," Jenna admitted, her hands trembling slightly. "You've got this. Just be yourself and enjoy the moment," Cara encouraged her, giving her a reassuring smile. As the evening unfolded, Jenna found herself surrounded by people admiring her work. She engaged with visitors, sharing the stories behind her photos and feeling a sense of pride swell within her. Each compliment and kind word fueled her passion, and she felt like she was finally stepping into her own. A little while later, David arrived, his face lighting up as he spotted her. "Jenna, you look stunning," he said, pulling her into a warm embrace. "Thank you. I'm so glad you're here," she replied, her heart fluttering. They walked through the gallery together, admiring the diverse artwork displayed. David's presence gave her a sense of comfort and support, and Jenna felt more confident with him by her side. As they reached her display, David's eyes sparkled with pride. "This is incredible, Jenna. I'm really impressed by how far you've come." "Thank you," she said, beaming. "I couldn't have done this without your encouragement." As the evening progressed, Jenna felt the warmth of the community surrounding her. It was a reminder that she wasn't alone on this journey, she had people who believed in her and wanted to see her succeed. Later in the night, the gallery owner took the stage to give a speech, announcing the winners of the show. Jenna stood beside David, her heart racing with anticipation. "And the award for Best Emerging Artist goes to Jenna Taylor," the owner announced, pointing at her with a big smile. Stunned, Jenna felt her heart skip a beat. The applause echoed around her as she walked up to the stage, her knees trembling with disbelief. I can't believe this," she said, holding the award in her hands, her voice shaking. "Thank you so much. This means the world to me. I poured my heart into my work, and I'm grateful for everyone's support." As she looked out into the crowd, she spotted Cara beaming with pride and David giving her an encouraging thumbs up. In that moment, Jenna felt a wave of joy and validation wash over her. After the show, as the excitement settled, Jenna and David stepped outside into the cool night air. "You were amazing. I'm so proud of you, David said, wrapping an arm around her shoulder. Thank you. I still can't believe I won, Jenna replied, grinning from ear to ear. David's expression shifted slightly, a more serious tone creeping into his voice. You know, Jenna, I've been thinking a lot about us lately. I really care about you, and I want to take our relationship to the next level. Jenna's heart raced. What do you mean? I want to be more than just a casual relationship. I see a future with you, and I hope you feel the same way, he said, looking deeply into her eyes. Jenna's heart swelled with emotion. I do, David. I care about you so much, and I feel like we have something special. Then let's embrace it, David suggested, a smile breaking across his face. Let's take this leap together. Feeling a rush of excitement and certainty, Jenna nodded. Yes. I'd love that. As they walked home hand in hand, Jenna felt a newfound sense of hope and possibility. She was ready to embrace love fully, to trust again, and to build a future with David. Days turned into weeks, and Jenna continued to flourish in her photography. With David by her side, she explored new projects and took on freelance work that challenged her creativity. Their connection deepened as they shared dreams and aspirations, discussing their future and the paths they wanted to take together. One afternoon, while they were relaxing on the couch after a long day, David turned to Jenna, a playful glint in his eyes. You know, I've been thinking, we should do a photo project together. Something that combines both our styles. Jenna's eyes lit up with excitement. That sounds amazing. What do you have in mind? I was thinking we could capture different aspects of love, friendship, romance, family, and even self-love. Each photo could tell a different story, he proposed. I love that idea. It's perfect, Jenna replied, her creativity ignited. We could even showcase it at the next gallery show. Over the next few months, Jenna and David worked on their collaborative project. They traveled to different locations, capturing intimate moments of connection and love. Each photo was a reflection of their journey together, and Jenna felt a sense of fulfillment as they explored this new creative venture. However, as they delved deeper into the project, Jenna couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more brewing beneath the surface. She found herself reflecting on her own understanding of love, how it had evolved over the years, especially in the wake of her tumultuous relationship with Adam. One evening, as they sat together reviewing their photos, Jenna turned to David, a serious expression on her face. Can we talk about something? Of course, he replied, sensing her shift in tone. I've been thinking about how we've been defining our relationship and what love means to us. I just want to make sure we're on the same page, she began, her heart racing. David nodded, his eyes attentive. I think that's really important. What's on your mind? I've come to realize that love is about more than just the good times. It's about supporting each other through challenges and understanding each other's vulnerabilities, Jenna explained, feeling her emotions bubble to the surface. I want us to be open about our feelings and fears. I completely agree, David said, his voice steady. I want to build something real with you, and that means being honest and transparent about everything. Good, Jenna said, relief washing over her. I want us to communicate openly, especially when it comes to our pasts. We've both been through a lot, and I want to make sure we're both okay with where we're headed. As they continued to talk, Jenna felt a sense of connection deepen between them. They shared their fears, their hopes, and their dreams for the future, and Jenna felt lighter as they navigated the complexities of love together. In that moment, Jenna realized that their relationship wasn't just about passion, it was also about understanding, trust, and growth. She was ready to embrace all of it. Weeks turned into months, and the photo project began to take shape. They planned an exhibit to showcase their work, inviting friends, family, and the community to share in the celebration. As the day approached, Jenna felt a mixture of excitement and anxiety. On the night of the exhibit, the gallery was filled with vibrant energy. Friends and family gathered to admire their work, and Jenna felt an overwhelming sense of pride as they showcased their love stories through photography. "Look at all the people who came to support you," David said, wrapping an arm around her waist. "This is incredible." Jenna smiled, feeling grateful. "I couldn't have done this without you. Thank you for believing in me." As the night unfolded, Jenna took a moment to reflect on her journey. She had come so far from the darkness of her past. She was no longer the girl defined by heartbreak, she was a woman reclaiming her power, surrounded by love and support. After the exhibit, Jenna and David celebrated their success with friends. Laughter and joy filled the air as they reminisced about the journey that had brought them here. Later that night, as they stood outside under the stars, Jenna turned to David, feeling a sense of clarity wash over her. "Thank you for being a part of this with me," she said softly. "I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else," David replied, his voice warm. Jenna smiled, her heart swelling with affection. In that moment, she realized that love was not just about grand gestures but also about the quiet moments of understanding and support that grounded them both. As they embraced under the starry sky, Jenna felt a sense of peace. She was ready to embrace whatever came next, confident in the love they had built together. To be continued.